What is going on, everyone? Like I mentioned in my last video, I want to take you through every single excruciating detail of this fish room build. Now, for those of you who are looking for a dopamine hit, this series may not be the right one for you, but don't worry, we will have content to address that on this channel. But for the rest of you, I thank you for coming along on this journey. Sit back, relax, grab a coffee, maybe you'll learn a thing or two. Welcome to the Slow Burn. And I welcome you to the Slow Burn series. Let's get started. One thing I forgot to mention was the flooring. Laid LVP, which stands for luxury vinyl plank, on top of the hardwood floor that came with this property. I did this back when I was doing the initial renovations for this unit. And the reason why I think it's one of the superior options for flooring, specifically within fish rooms, is that it's waterproof, it's durable, scratch resistant, and it's not carpet. Hardwood flooring, which has the issue of absorbing water if you don't wipe it immediately, and it's not as scratch resistant, so moving things back and forth, you've all seen that with furniture, sometimes it leaves scratch marks. At this point, as I had mentioned, we laid the flooring and we did actually also paint the walls, do some spackling work. But what we didn't do, paint the doors. There actually was a lot of filth on the windowsills, and baseboard trim wasn't painted in this room yet either. We then made a quick pit stop to Petco to check out some tanks. We only found one in stock of the tank that I was looking for, so we decided to call it a night. The next day, we decided to check out another Petco that was a little bit further of a drive. And there they had 3 of the tanks that I was looking for. I only bought 2, but I kind of regret not getting that third one. And then on the drive back, we decided to stop at 2 local fish stores, and I ended up picking up another tank, a little bit different from the one that you saw at Petco. More details come on that in future videos. For those wondering, the paint color we put on all the trims throughout this house was Benjamin Moore's Chantilly lace. So these holes that you see were from a mounted television that we had in this room previously. Had to make them a little bit bigger before we filled them in with joint compound. As you can see, I am still not the best when it comes to mud work or joint compound work, but I learned everything that I know off of YouTube actually, from DIY Renovision as well as Vancouver Carpenter. While the joint compound dried on the walls, I decided to tackle some of the imperfections on the trim work, doors, windowsills, and for that I used wood filler instead. Next up, 1 coat of primer to seal the joint compound and the wood filler, and then 2 coats of paint. At this point, all the holes were filled, sanded, primed, and painted. So next up is tackling the workbench for the fish room. So what we got here is a butcher block that I got from Lowe's, which is normally used for kitchen countertops. I forgot how much of a pain pre-stain is to get off of your fingers, so I decided to put some gloves on. So I got these from Costco, and the reason why I got them is because, well, I think the Home Depot ones are similar too, but you have two options. You could do a full stack, or you could do 2 half stacks. But you can see this is basically cardboard, so we definitely have to swap these out for plywood or pine. I know, it's technically particle board, but with the amount of weight that we're trying to put on these shelves, it's pretty much cardboard at this point. I've been out of the game so long that apparently they don't do the $1 per gallon sales anymore. It's just 50% off. Ideally, I would want 3 on one shelf. Let's see if that's even possible. I also have to leak test all of these because I hear these tanks tend to leak. Oh, so I think we're good actually in terms of dimensions. So currently as they sit, this would kind of be ideal for maintenance and such, but we can lift them up a little bit higher at eye level. So this one will probably raise up a little bit more. So I'm just gonna have to do some measurements. Alright, so this looks a little bit better. More at eye level, and also saves me some space to put in one more level. So this was the midpoint originally, but I'm gonna take this out, lower this down, probably to around where that tape is. Looking back at this clip, I probably could have done this in a less sketchier way. And then had to make some space for rack number 2. After sketchily moving this rack, decided to call it a day. The next day we decided to head over to the Promised Land, aka Home Depot. got these two racks side by side. Still got to plan out how I want to do the heights of the individual shelves. Ultimately, it's going to depend on what tanks I decide to put on this rack. Right now, I'm debating on putting this aqua top. The height of this, much shorter compared to these, which means the shelf will probably be a little higher on this one. I wish I could say that these were easily adjustable, but these honestly are a pain in the you know what to take in and out. But what are you gonna do? Paid 90 bucks a pop for these, cheapest I could find on Costco. Kind of worried about the stability, but at least you guys will be able to witness. Let this dry overnight. Hide the sunlight a little. The rest of it looks pretty good. Those dark spots are probably because I just didn't put enough preconditioner to seal the holes here. I probably should have sanded those spots a little bit more as well. So you see varied absorption of a stain, but it's as good as it's gonna get. And the last step is to put this bad boy on. It's my favorite part, which will really seal this. And the plan for this really is to be used as a worktop, as a bench, my unboxing and all that stuff. It's gonna be on rollers. This will ensure that it is waterproof, which is gonna be extremely important since we're doing fish room stuff. Definitely would recommend anyone who's trying to really waterproof, go for the polyurethane as opposed to the polyacrylic. Polyacrylic dries a lot faster. The VOCs are also a lot lower, but it is not as waterproof because polyacrylic is water-based in nature, which makes sense, whereas polyurethane is more oil-based in nature. So these are the pieces of plywood we're gonna use to replace this glorified piece of cardboard right here. Really just for peace of mind, additional support. You can see I got some of the more higher quality plywood. I think it was a 3/4 inch thickness, but it has the pine surface, so looks much nicer. We are gonna pretty much have to do what we did to this, to all of these. Probably only do one coat of the varnish, or the stain rather, and then one coat of the polyurethane. I gotta do it essentially 8 times, or I don't even know if I'm gonna use all these, but at least I have 8 to choose from. Ideally want the ones that don't bow. I do also like that it breaks up the black. Look how perfect that looks. Well, in my eyes. Temporarily also mounted these 2 pieces of plywood just so I could get all 8 pieces on here. For any professionals comment, I know, I committed a cardinal sin. I ended up staining against the grain. I eventually realized it when I had 2 left. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. They're gonna be covered by tanks or other things on top of it. At least I didn't commit the sin when it came to our workbench. All right, quick pause, but you can see I did 2 so far. Because I didn't put the conditioner, you can see it's really absorbing the color really quick. And it's much darker, and I only did 1 coat, which is good news for me. Means I don't have to do multiple coats to get to this. The other thing that sucks is I do actually have to tackle the bottoms, maybe of the top 4 pieces or so, just because those technically will be visible. Hit all of the boards, even did the underside for the top 4 boards, just in case we look at it from an angle. Similar to the workbench, decided to put polyurethane on the shelf tops as well. Decided to do 2 coats to really lock in the waterproofness, to make it really waterproof. Once I hit the butcher block with polyurethane, gave it about 24 hours to fully cure. Then I hit the high spots with a really fine grit sandpaper. Now that this is finally done, we could finally put the base. There you have it, first installment for the slow burn series. If you're still here, you are truly a real one. Be sure to subscribe for more. Peace.